guy with 4 kids. Let me see if this opens for you guys. Did anybody want the check sheet to make sure you're on time for graduation by chance? You're all doing good? Straight A's? I didn't either. I was like, till my sophomore year, I didn't get my stuff in order. I had a 0.59 my sophomore year. I had to quit drinking. I had to get my stuff together. And then I had all straight A's after that. But before that, it was bad. Another green chalk. Let me see if ultrasound. Have any of you guys ever seen an ultrasound? Even if they do it on you, like now they're starting to do it on body parts if you hurt something because they can see inside. So one interesting fact is that with the ultrasound, they can see what type of baby it's going to be. And so for 20 years, China had a one-child policy. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this before. And if they saw that it was a girl, they terminated the pregnancy. So because males would get property, like in the good old days and even up to China 1980, if they were only able to have one kid, what one kid did you think they would want to have? A son. And because of that policy all the way through the 1980s and even now, it's messed up things really bad where there are 30 million women short in China. Or it's 40 million in India and 30 million women short in China. So they have an imbalance of males and females. And now it's become a daughter is the most valuable thing for them. I think they've gotten rid of the one-child policy, but it's interesting when you mess with the natural law, how that stuff happens. I'm trying to create a sign-in sheet because that was this last class. It's a small class, and this is I can pass it when I have the chance. So the prenatal testing, ultrasound, they can test alpha fetoprotein blood screen, so they can see what like things you're sick with, what things that are genetic, when things are in your blood. They can see if you have trisomy 21. Anybody ever heard of what trisomy 21 is? It means you have Down syndrome. So they can test that or see it ahead of time. I do think it's now illegal to have pregnancy termination if you saw trisomy 21. I could be wrong. I have to look up the law on that. But also they can check chronic villus samples, different viruses that could be there. Also the timing and safety of administration of the different types of tests. They used to do a test where they would like poke into the water, like the water bag that the baby floats in, but they've seen that that's caused challenges too, because it like punctures it and then it leaks and then they have to have the baby early. So now there's non-invasive testing on cell-free DNA analysis. Like I said, they have a way to see if it's a boy or a girl by 8 weeks now. Anybody had one of those recently where they like pop the balloon and all the pink comes out? Boy, girl reveal video. There's some funny ones and some messed up ones as of recently. So yeah, they sell you a kit that tests the blood at 8 weeks, and if there is XY chromosome, and somebody correct me if I have this wrong, that's a boy. But if it has only XX chromosome, it's a girl. And obviously, the woman already has XX chromosome running through her blood. So at 8 weeks, if all you have is XX chromosome running through your blood, it's a girl. And then if they have XY chromosome, then it's a boy. So then you get these little cute things that people do on like TikTok. I don't know. Some of them are like meant to be funny. There's some where they like play games with you too. For example, my sister-in-laws knew that my dad has 25 years of like 12 grandchildren. He didn't have a boy to like pass on the family name. You guys ever have that where they make it big to pass on the family name? I know nowadays anybody can, like, you can have the 2-syllable names or whatever it is. But what they did was make it a pink onesie. So like you keep opening a box and then a bag and then a package. And it was a pink onesie, and on it said, "It's a boy." And I felt bad for my dad as he's like 80 years old. And he like, you could even tell when the pink onesie came out, he's like, motherfucker. Because he's like from that old generation, you know, where they like want to have the boy. Anybody else have parents like that? They have the boy to pass on the family name? Nobody's ever heard that? See? It's already gone. That's good. But because of the want for a boy in China for 30 years, there's an imbalance of males and females. So Asia male female imbalance. I probably spelled that wrong. Shoot. So here you go. They even have some charts. So Asia, particularly Southeast Asia, including countries like China and India, has a significant male-female imbalance with millions more men. It's 30 million. I mean, that's a lot. That's 1/10 of the U.S. population at 30 million. So a phenomenon largely driven by historical and ongoing son preference. So through the 80s and 90s, they had ultrasound. If they saw it was a girl and they were only allowed to have one child, there was sex-selective abortion. So in China's case, the one-child policy, the imbalance has far-reaching negative consequences. Well, this one's 50 seconds. Let's do this.
Welcome to China in Context from the SOAS China Institute at the University of London. I'm Duncan Hewitt. China's one-child policy ended a decade ago, but its consequences are still being felt, not least in the continuing gender imbalance in the country's population. For several decades, the combination of restrictions on family size with traditional attitudes favoring male children, especially in rural areas, led to many female babies being aborted. China is currently estimated to have at least 30 million more men than women, and a new documentary film explores the impact this has had, particularly on young men from the countryside who can struggle to find a mate in China's increasingly competitive dating market. The film,
I didn't know that they had a
follows
film.
3 young men who go on a week-long dating camp run by a self-styled dating coach, Mr. Howell, in an attempt to reinvent themselves and find love. It's made by Violet Feng Du, a Chinese filmmaker based.
So essentially, that was sex-selective abortions, different than like ethical dilemmas. You've got to terminate a pregnancy if the fetus has a major birth defect. Sometimes they can see like there's not a liver or not, I guess, kidney. You have 2 of them, but things of that nature. That's when it can be challenging. Other birth complications, anoxia and potential causes, meconium and aspiration, potential respiratory complications. So like if the baby takes a dump while it's being born and like breathes some in while it's being delivered, it can like really mess up their lungs. So they're very cautious of that when giving birth. Other perinatal difficulties, like the cord is wrapped around your neck. I know some people have had that happen, and it, you know, the baby comes out blue because they don't have like the proper oxygen going in or something of that. And even prolonged labor, there can be like a challenge that comes up and can really have effect on mom, baby, and all of the above. So some of the other high-risk infants, like if they're low birth weight, that's anything less than 5.5 pounds. Premature, which is anything less than 38 weeks. I would say 2 of ours were premature, but they were only 36 and a half and 37 weeks, so it wasn't that bad. Intrauterine growth retardation. That's like prenatal deprivation that retards growth. Also increased risk for a lot of developmental disabilities. Are you guys familiar with any of the developmental disabilities like cerebral palsy or even autism, I guess? I know you can't really diagnose that until age 2-ish when they start talking and if they like focus on you and whatnot. So as social workers, we need to support the child and the parents. That's the thing that comes up with that. I feel like there's sometimes notes on the side here, so let me make sure there wasn't any for those. No notes for those. Any questions so far? I was going to do that crap again where it says everything that I say. That's okay. That's another thing to consider. Well, the challenges that come up from pregnancy if they're less than 5.5 pounds, eclampsia, diabetes, maternal age nutrition, sexually transmitted illnesses. So one other thing to be known if, for example, there is like an outbreak of cold sore herpes virus, essentially, they often will do a C-section where you can go through the stomach instead of through the vagina because at birth, the herpes can be transferred to the child. And it's important to know is a lot of times people say they didn't know until like college or even adulthood that like if you get a cold sore, it can be passed all 4 ways. So that's why it's important to know how to stay cautious of cold sores so they aren't passed or transferred. So some consequences of premature birth. And here's a whole list of them. Hello. How are you? Respiratory distress syndrome. So they actually have you stay away from, like when you have a brand new baby, they want you to keep away from almost everybody for 3 months. And it sounds crazy, but like those 3 months, like the lungs, there's not many medicines they can give to the baby if they caught something that was like COVID or whatever. So they're real big on like not having big outings going on or, maybe have family over, but not like a big party where you're having everybody in the neighborhood come over and you pass on something that makes you sick. Also, the treatment for RDS must be provided with caution to avoid complications. Retina therapy can be caused by high oxygen levels. RDS in children they go on a ventilator. And then bronchopulmonary dysplasia is a complication seen in children placed on ventilators. So it's not good to go on the ventilator in the first place. And you've got to be cautious with that. So while the baby is still in utero, it's crazy. They still respond to pain, light, touch, and taste. So they've done research, like while the baby's still in the belly, like it can hear mom, it can hear, like it starts knowing mom and dad's voice. At 26 weeks, they respond to sound vibration. They demonstrate habituation, like learning, and then they recognize the mother's voice at birth. Mother's emotions can affect the fetus. How do you guys think that's possible?
Stress.
For sure. Cortisol is like one of the hormones produced with stress, can be passed through the baby in the bloodstream. %10 of the time they're in the quiet alert state. And then they learn how to recognize when a baby has had enough, particularly in the NICU, the NICU. They have different ways of testing. One is that test here, the Brazilton Neonatal Assessment Scale. They give it from when they're born or less than a month, and it assesses reactivity and regulation, the baby's IQ. Some newborn characteristics, they can focus on objects. They prefer contrasting complex patterns. So like if a baby was in this room, whose shirt do you think they would like the best? Probably the plaid. I think yours. Like the baby will focus, like they'll even, it's funny to watch them, like they'll focus when there's like, you know, like a contrasting pattern or colors. They prefer high-pitched sounds, like a female voice. That's why sometimes people talk to them like, hi, how you doing? You know, like the higher pitch. They prefer sweet over salty, and sweet over acidic, and sweet over bitter. So they want their sugar. Breast milk is sweet. So like a big ingredient that makes it tasty is that it's sweet and it tastes better than formula. They can imitate your facial expressions, such as sticking out their tongue. There is one I wanted to show you guys, the still face experiment. Anybody heard of the still face experiment?
Mm-mm.
They have it in both males and females. So let me find the best. They always give her as an example. So, all right, I'll still go with this one.
Babies this young are extremely responsive to the emotions and the reactivity and the social interaction that they get from the world around them. This is something that we started studying 30, 40 years ago, when people didn't think that infants could engage in social interaction. And the still face experiment, what the mother did was she sits down and she's playing with her baby who's about a year of age.
I'm like a girl. Oh.
And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her.
Yeah.
This baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her and play with her. They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby is used to. And then we ask the mother to not respond to the baby. The baby very quickly picks up on this. And then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points. The baby puts both hands up in front of her and says, "What's happening here?" She makes that screechy sound at the mother, like, come on, why aren't we doing this? Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions, they turn away, they feel the stress of it, they actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
Okay. I'm here. And what are you doing? Oh, yes. Oh, what a big girl.
It's a little like the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that normal stuff that goes on, that we all do with our kids. The bad is when something bad happens, but the infant can overcome it. After all, when you stop the still face, the mother and the baby start to play again. The ugly is when you don't give the child any chance to get back to the good. There's no reparation, and they're stuck in that really ugly situation.
So it's one example that kind of brings about a discussion. I'll give you guys a sign-in sheet. Like nowadays, all the distractions we have, you know, like with social media, with computers, it started with TVs. I'm sure even before then, probably newspapers, and ways to avoid interaction with our kids. Like maybe you're just burnt out as a parent. Maybe there is real alcoholism going on. You drank so much, you're like still face, like passed out in a chair, or a heroin overdose where like they actually turn blue on the lips. And they show the stress reaction of the baby, like
Good
kind of
stuff.
like
All of
pointing
their
or
posture.
screaming, and that's within 2 minutes. So you got to give the baby so much damn attention. It's a lot. It's stressful. It's they notice when I'm not paying attention. They notice when we're distracted. When if something else has our full undivided attention, and it could be as simple as booze, drugs, alcohol, anything. But when they start doing that and the cortisol peaks, it actually affects brain development. So there's a lot of research that childhood traumas really affect our brain development. And those of us that have more than 7 ACEs, out of the 10 ACEs, if you have 3, even if you don't have 7, anybody heard of what ACEs are before? There should be a free quiz that you can take as an adult. As a social worker, very common. These 10 questions. So feel that you didn't have enough to eat, wear dirty clothes, or had no one to protect or take care of you. Did you lose a parent through divorce, abandonment, death, or other reason? And like I said, those of us that have 3 or 4 or more, it's very curable and beatable, but is important to have a counselor and social worker. Did you live with anyone depressed, mentally ill, or attempted suicide? Did you live with anyone who had a problem drinking or using drugs, including prescription drugs? Did your parents or adults in your home ever hit, punch, beat, or threaten or harm each other? Did you live with anyone who went to jail or prison? Did a parent or adult in your home ever swear at you, insult you, or put you down? Did a parent or adult in your home ever hit, beat, kick, or physically hurt you in any way? Did you feel that no one in your family loved you or thought you were special? Or did you experience unwanted sexual contact? And all the examples they give. So this is the ACEs quiz that, they have several variations of it, but it focuses on those 10 questions. It is helpful if there's more than a few of those to talk to someone, and there's no shame in doing that. I certainly grew up with more than a few of those and just learned how to go through. They often say like social workers needing a social worker. That's okay. Like social workers seeing a counselor. That's okay. It's perfectly okay and normal. There's a full documentary on it called Paper Tigers Trauma Documentary. I may have this for you guys to watch. You get it free on Amazon Prime, I'm pretty sure. It probably makes you watch commercials. Yeah. I'll show you the trailer if I can. Here we go.
In every school in America, walking down every street in America, there are the kids that get labeled. Get rid of them. They're nothing but trouble. Lincoln sits right in the heart of the most assaults, gang activity, truancy.
I did hear that it was the worst school you could ever go to.
Kids at night, the fights, absolute chaos. He pissed me off and I threw a chair at him. I told him I was going to kill him. All of them were messed up.
I was invited to go to a conference on complex trauma and what stress does to the brain.
And this is what I was talking about with the baby even. So like the stress that creates cortisol in our system, or in utero, we were talking about if the mom is going through lots of stress, it threatens brain development. It can harm long-term health and lead to erratic behavior or other self-soothing behaviors.
The behavior isn't the kid. The behavior is a symptom of what's going on in their life.
My mom was like, "Dear Shelly, she's the only thing I had."
And for her to abandon me like that.
His coping mechanism was drinking a ton, smoking a ton.
I remember one night, I didn't want to be alive.
It hit me, and it hit me really hard.
You have to unconditionally love them, and you have to believe that their behavior might be out of their control.
I love playing guitar with several of these guys. I feel like that's almost as strong as anything we ever do in class.
After that, he wasn't only a discipline figure, he was a friend.
Half of the student body had over a 3-point GPA.
So this was the high school they did trauma-informed care at on the west coast of the United States. We also tried to implement this in Cincinnati at a school called Lighthouse Community Schools, and it was it showed similar stats, like 90% decrease in suspension, 75% decrease in fights, and 5-fold increase in graduation rates.
To watch their confidence come back has been incredible.
I'm not by myself anymore. I got a team.
If I can do it, all of you can definitely do it.
It's not that I'm judging you. I know why you're smoking weed. I know why you smoke meth. I know why you're in fights. You don't want to feel. I mean, that's the big challenge is I'm asking you to try feeling for a little bit, because sometimes when you feel, it guides you in the direction that you should be going and not to where you are.
So that's, yeah, I think it's free on Amazon Prime. Did you all know that you get 6 months free at Amazon Prime with your Central State email address? So you sign up with a .edu address, you get that 6 months free, which also gives My Bad Habit for free. They give you Grubhub Plus with the free delivery, and they give you like, I think they deliver here. So I've ordered like burritos and pizzas here. So just a random thought, because yeah, .edu address. Even if you already have Amazon Prime, you're say like, dude, I'm a student now. They give you 6 months free and then student rates. That way you can watch Paper Tigers here and order a pizza while you're watching it. Does Grubhub deliver here successfully ever, or DoorDash? Or do they send it to like the middle of nowhere and just drop it off in a field? That's what Dr. Carter told me last week. I'm like, just go to Grubhub. You got Donato's. And she said she ordered it and she gave him the code on the phone. And I said, that was your mistake, dude. You got to wait till you got that shit in hand and you give them the code, because they don't give a fuck if it's delivered. And she's like, well, I'll be getting my money back. I'm like, well, they'll refund you. But it's, what's that? Still hungry. Yeah. Yeah. I think it still works on here. You put in our address here. Here's all the places you can get it from. Oh, there it is. I've tried to write it as detailed as I could. They don't have as much. I swear that they're starting to fall off, because look, they already got to Walgreens on the third line and CVS. That's pretty bad. But I've ordered, I think, a few of these before. So more importantly, get Amazon Prime. If you already have it, tell them your .edu address. You'll get it 6 months free, and you can watch Paper Tigers documentary on trauma. And it's well done. Also, there's colic for kids. Anybody heard of colic before? So they say it's the rule of 3. It's prolonged bouts of crying. It'll drive you insane. If the kid's crying that long, you want to like literally jump out the window. So there's a reason why there's postpartum depression. Males and females can both suffer from it. Lasts from approximately 2 weeks to 4 months of age, peaking at 6 weeks. To diagnose it, it's the rule of 3. So colic is an otherwise healthy, well-nourished baby. Crying occurs more than 3 hours a day. That's insane. Because just an hour like make you like that. Our 1-year-old turns 1 this week. So we've got 5, 4, 2.5, and 1. So hopefully, because shit, if we had another baby, I'll be 48 for that. I don't think we're having another baby. So 3 hours, 3 days per week, more than 3 weeks out of the month. So that's a lot of crying that you got to like handle. Sometimes people put the kid in the car and drive it till it falls asleep. Like that's a safe way to handle it. Organic causes are constipation, lactose intolerance, meningitis, or abuse. Primary causes of colic are gastrointestinal, psychosocial, or neurodevelopmental. So that's another thing that comes up. There's all kinds of different states. Anybody know how long a baby sleeps for? It's a lot. Because they triple their size in like the first year almost. So they start at 5.5, 6.5 pounds. And by the time they're 1, I think our 1-year-old is 20 pounds. I almost have to see if I've got the Google photos. No, that's an old. I don't want that one. Let's do. She was cracking me up today. Oh yeah, maybe it was there. I think she's about 20. Yeah, she's like 20 pounds. She's big. So by 1 year of age, you get from 6 pounds. I think she might have been 7, and she'll probably next week on September 8th she turns 1. It'll be 21 pounds. So you triple your size in that first year. And a lot of it's from sleeping, because that's when you're grumpy. You got quiet alert, active alert, crying state, drowsiness state, quiet sleep, active sleep. The reflexes are kind of more interesting. So let's see if I can. No, it won't let me. Let's just do that. But there's some video of these different reflexes, which are helpful. Let's see if I can paste them in. Some of them are like to test your, if you want to stay alive or not. So here's one. I like these videos.
You know what's really fun?
But not the advertisements. So here we go.
Everyone, it's Sarah, registered nurse, RN.com, and in this video, I want to demonstrate how to assess the rooting reflex in a newborn. And this is seen when the infant's cheek or side of mouth is stroked. The head will actually turn towards it, and the infant's mouth will open in an attempt to suck. So this reflex is really helpful in helping the baby find their food source when they want to feed. And it tends to disappear around about 4 months of age. Okay, so that wraps up this video on how to assess the rooting reflex in a newborn.
So that one is for when you're feeding, like you want them to turn their head, they go like that. And they know where the food is, and that, again, is to stay alive. A lot of these are to stay alive. Doll's eyes, creepy. Let's do Palmar grasp, because that's another one that's... You can test these on any baby, and then, yeah, it sees how they are developmentally. Here we go. Not the commercial. There we go.
Everyone, it's Sarah, registered nurse, RN.com, and in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to assess the Palmar grasp reflex in a newborn. Palmar means we're talking about the hand. So this reflex deals with something with the hand. So you can get a response out of the infant whenever you place a finger or you stroke the inside of the infant's palm. And whenever you do this, the hand will close around it. This tends to disappear around about 4 to 6 months of age. Okay, so that wraps up this video on how to assess the Palmar grasp reflex.
So doctors usually test all these to make sure, like, the baby's developing okay, and this can tell you some problems that are coming up. Oh, I put rooting first. That's funny. This one's kind of creepy though. I don't understand this one fully. And then they play weird ass music with it too. But here's an example. You ever have the dolls that open its eyes when you lift it up? Like, it's kind of creepy, like Chucky. But I guess it is a and I don't know why. I should know more about that one. There's other creepy ones that are... All right, 9 seconds. Let's see if he can explain it to us in 9 seconds. Nope, I'm not following him for the answer, sorry. So all of these different reflexes they give to test if the baby is working normally, so to speak. Okay, here's one. Maybe this will
We're
show
just
it.
going to do doll size. See how we can go back and forth. He has full range of motion, 180 degrees. And then we're going to do vertical. Okay. Don't know what to do with this, huh? Yeah, there. Oh, can you smile for me? Can you smile for me? Yeah, that's a big smile. Very good. Yeah. Okay. Should we pull you up to sitting position? Okay.
And they have a hard time. So there is a big campaign when the babies are sleeping, ABC campaign. So alone, back, and in their own crib. And the reason for that is a lot of people like to co-sleep. Nothing totally wrong with that, but say Friday night you have a little bit too much to drink and you're co-sleeping, if you roll over on the baby, it can be detrimental. So ABC campaign for cribs. They had a big one in the Midwest and in Cincinnati. Alone back in crib, which advises parents and caregivers to place babies to sleep in a separate, flat, firm surface, and not have like a bunch of blankets, because they are at a young age. If like somehow the blanket got over their mouth, they can't really move until 4 months away from that, to prevent sudden infant death syndrome, so SIDS. I think there was a few videos on it that showed how they promoted the safe sleep campaign. Here's one that's short.
See what scholarships you may qualify for. Visit.
And sometimes it's hard for them to get to sleep until they are next to
Says
you.
people should stop using this summer infant product immediately, but we did want to go beyond the products. Experts say safe sleep for babies is as easy as knowing the ABCs.
Why we say absolutely nothing in the crib is because of that movement.
Whether it's for a nap or for the night, remember the ABCs to make sure your baby is sleeping safely, alone, on the back, in a crib.
We don't recommend any sitting devices, whether it be positioners or pillows or any bouncers, anything like that.
Ilse Alexander from Phoenix Children's Hospital says all of those things make sleeping dangerous for babies. She says it's critically important to avoid inclined sleepers like the recalled Fisher-Price Rock and Play. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is also warning people to stop using this product, Summer Infant Swaddle Me by Your Bed Sleeper. The agency says it's not aware of any deaths involving the product, but believes it puts babies at risk of suffocation.
You're not allowing that baby to fully stretch. You're not allowing that baby to go ahead and practice those developmental skills of growing. And so you're actually posing that child to be at a risk factor for a sudden unexpected infant death.
We learned across Arizona there were 83 sudden unexpected infant deaths reported in 2017. In 2018, that number dropped to 59. Ilse says most of those deaths happened while the infant was sleeping in an unsafe environment.
So progress, but more to do.
More work to do, lots of work to do. We don't want to see these numbers going up. We want to see them going down. We want to see them disappearing.
Summer Infant did not respond to our questions about the CPSC warning. The CPSC is also investigating crib bumpers, which are sometimes used to line the inside of cribs. Safety experts say even though you can still find them on the market, you shouldn't use them because they are also a potential suffocation hazard. I'm 3 on your side, Susan Campbell.
So that's some of the ABC campaign. There's a couple other reflexes. So the doctor usually tests for all of these. You have a lot of baby visits when you first go in. So it can be several. Let me make sure. Oh, I was on a different page, wasn't I? Because there's so many developmental marks that they hit while they're growing up. Here's the Babinski reflex.
Build a website you love.
It's also kind of about survival, like so the baby stays alive. Let's see here.
Everyone, this is Sarah with registerednursern.com, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to assess the Babinski reflex in a newborn. This is seen when the bottom of the foot is stroked from the heel upward along the outward part of the foot. So what's going to happen with this, you will see the big toe dorsiflex, so it's going to bend backwards, and the other toes are going to fan out or spread out. And this is what you want to see in an infant. Now, in an adult, you do not want to see this response. I actually have a video where I show you what a normal and abnormal Babinski reflex is in an adult, and you can check that video out if you're interested. And this tends to disappear, this type of response, around about 1 year of age. Okay,
So when the doctor's checking them all, making sure they're on pace for normal development, that's some of the things they'll do. So the sensitive period just after birth is the golden hour. That's where they have you do like skin on skin. Both mom and the dad, they keep all the like mucus all over the babies. That's the good bacteria. It looks like kind of white filmy mucus all over them, but that's good stuff. In the past, we'd wash it off like, ooh, they're dirty, we got to wash them. That has been shown, you want to have that, and it's research has shown it helps with digestion, development, things of that nature. So now they don't give them a bath for 24 hours at least. I skipped through that. The importance of early mother-infant contact has impacted hospital birthing practices, including skin-to-skin and breastfeeding encouragement. 15 to 20% experience postpartum depression. That can be a topic for our assignment in the middle of the semester if you guys choose to present on a major mental health disorder. Postpartum depression is one of them you could present on. And then baby wearing as a therapeutic tool. So anybody know how far a baby can see when they're first born? Like for the first few months, they have a certain distance they can see. Apparently it is like 9 inches. So like if you're breastfeeding, that's like literally 9 inches where you're seeing the baby and holding it. So they encourage it, even if it's for the first, there's like 3 stages of breast milk that you go through in the first like 3 or 4 days. And the one gives it a lot of the antibodies it needs. The other gives it a lot of fat. So even if it's just those few days and then pumping, so a lot of them will all give away a pump when the baby's first born. Healthy ones need support and stimulation in the home. There's a lot of social work funded intervention programs that provide support, education, and prenatal care that decreases risk of abuse. One of those is called Help Me Grow. Now there's one in Dayton too. So I'm just going to search that for now, as it might be a good description from this. Here we go. So Help Me Grow is a statewide system in Ohio offering support to families with young children, including home visit services, developmental screens, and early intervention services for children with developmental delays. Home visitors provide free in-home support, education, resources to expectant new parents, and promote healthy child development. So that's like a social work job that is still out there. I didn't know that they had that many videos of it. So I'll do one of the shorter ones.
My name is Jennifer Arenberry Fregoso. I have 3 children. My oldest child, Divina Grace Arenberry. I have Christian Pedro Arenberry and Justice Rafael. Help Me Grow, open doors, and the opportunities that I was able to have. We were connected with Christina from Catholic Charities, which I am so grateful for.
My name is Christina Nieto, and I am a home visitor with Help Me Grow. I absolutely love connecting with families, being able to support them, walk on them with the journey, be with them with their children. And really, once you're invited into the home, you basically become part of their story, and it's pretty amazing.
When she started to come to our home, we were able to interact, learn, hands-on, and then she was able to see me also in how I handle things with them. And we grew and I learned a lot. Learning I'm not the only overwhelmed person in the world, and I didn't feel singled out.
It's pretty amazing the way she connects with the kids. Sometimes you need a person that's the bright light coming in to provide that peace for you and your kids. Just to see my kids smiling and having fun and learning stuff, I think that's the best part.
This isn't just me as a mom coming in saying, oh, I did this and I did this and this is how I put my kids to bed, but it's research based. And then I'm like, this is the best practice because we know over the years how things have changed, safe sleep, things like that. And then I'm able to cover that with the family based on the development of the child.
Christina would bring activities before we do these art programs, and it was a delight, like something to look forward to. It was just a spark of something more than what we had before. If you'll see, like my kids are nothing where we were before. Like I had my daughter that was like very angry, and now she's like she flourished. She's so energetic and she's caring. I see more positive things happen ever since.
So that's one of the social work programs that you see the different funding for. Also, the culture differences among newborns. So African American versus white or Latino babies. So on infant mortality, the rates of infant mortality in the US are higher than most developed nations. That would probably be like Europe and a few others. Mortality rates were 6% for white infants, 14.1% for black infants. Hispanic infants' mortality was similar to whites. The primary reason for death among white infants was congenital abnormalities, and for African American infants was low birth weight. There's two questions at the end. What do you guys think? What contributes to these differences, and what are some policy implications? Like, what do you think causes the difference there, and what can we do to fix it? I know it's making you think bigly. Mentions birth weight, so I'm wondering nutrition. There's the WIC program. You heard of WIC before?
Yeah.
Women, infants, and children. I think it's called women, infants, and children.
They provide like milk and eggs and cheese.
So making sure, there's more sustainable foods for before you give birth, so that could help with the low birth weight. Maybe the hbse thing too, because not all sudden infant death syndrome is infant mortality. No, I want to say it. Not all infant mortality is sudden infant death syndrome. So that's why they promoted that safe sleeping in cribs and making sure that, I think they were even giving cribs, because sometimes it was just as simple as having access to the crib or the thing that sits on the side of your bed. So like it's separated from you in the bed. And that's kind of what we used until they're maybe double their birth size. So when they're 14 or 15 pounds, that doesn't work as much anymore. But the crib is essential because, again, it's easier to roll over on them when you're like sleeping right next to them in the bed, or if you like pass out in a chair holding them as you're exhausted, they could bend a certain way and like their air thing is cut off. Obviously nutrition, so they seem to have everything they would want to give to a healthy developing baby. And I guess those are the policy implications. So if there's not access to cribs, maybe put in a campaign where there are funded cribs, and then also with WIC, if that doesn't cover all the food needs, like maybe food pantries. And anybody familiar with food deserts? Is it a big thing they've talked about finally recently? I lived in one in Cincinnati. How many of you guys are from a big city, considered a big city? Cincinnati, Dayton, Chicago. What are the other ones? I don't know, maybe even Indianapolis. That's where we see more food deserts, mainly because of the way the cities are built. But if you have to go 1.5 miles or more to a grocery store, you're considered to be living in a food desert because it can be harder to get to the food if it's 1.5 miles. I know there is Uber and Lyft nowadays, but even that's expensive to go 1.5 miles. I feel like. How much does Lyft cost? Anybody know? I haven't done it for a minute. What if you just went 1.5 miles? What's like the minimum fare you think they charge?
$10.
Right, that's what I thought. So it's not cheap, and if you had to go once a week or whatever it is, I know they have more food delivery services, and I think either Kroger or Amazon was going to take food stamps. Maybe it was Walmart. There's one of the three. They would take it for delivery, but not for, I don't know how to describe it. Take it for the food, but not for the delivery. So you still had to pay the delivery for like $6 or $10 or whatever it was. It is hot in here. We'll finish up quickly, I promise. So social risk factors are poverty. We'll do more on food deserts and trauma-informed care and the ACEs. If you get a chance, watch the Paper Tigers trauma documentary because I'm going to try to put up extra credit stuff for that. Oh yeah, genogram. That would be it. What questions more on the genogram do you guys have? Because I can draw that up. You want me to draw it for you guys again? So you know what it looks like? Or do you already know?
Do it have to look like a certain way?
So most important to have 3 generations. 4 is great too, but then you might have like a code on it where it's like finished high school, finished college, didn't finish college, heart disease, cancer, like maybe deaths and age that they died. So it's a lot of details, but again, this is where you learn how to do this when you're seeing clients and you get all the info you need on assessment from the client. So you learn how to do it on yourself first. And every little detail you can put in there, the better, if that answers the question. Okay. Do you guys want me to draw one again? I can. You're like, and I'll show you the hell they want me to update now. I hate these updates. Oh, they want to sell me something. You ever buy more iCloud?
Computer?
Yeah.
Can you post it?
Oh, it is in the assignment. Yes. The genogram, how to make a genogram on D2L. So that was the other class. Let's go back if it lets me. And then you go to your class. I feel like there's, oh, that's for spring. They already got spring. No, that's 25. I hope they don't have spring classes up already. We just started the fall. So when you go into the first assignment due, not until next week, here's genogram. And then I know it's the dude with the weird accent, but he'll show you how to make a 3-generation genogram. Let's go. There we go. I already forget. I think circles are males just because that's blue there and squares are females.
What is a genogram?
It's fine.
A genogram is a special type of family tree. A family tree will simply display ancestry information. However, a genogram will display additional information about the relationships of the individuals. Genograms are drawn using standardized symbols that help the viewer understand the relationships. The basic family symbols include a square for a male and a circle for a female. Genograms also include special symbols to indicate if children are twins or if a child is a biological child or adopted, in case that information is helpful. Genograms also may include information about the actual emotional relationships. There are symbols to indicate a wide range of emotions ranging from friendship to hate. Genograms may also be used for medical and genetic analysis by simply tagging individuals with particular traits. Let's look at an example that demonstrates this. We will use Star Wars and the Skywalker family as an example. Let's start by looking at Padme's family. Her father Rui, represented by a square, mother Jobal, represented by a circle. She also has an older sister named Sola. We know she's older because she is to the left. Let's get a bigger picture. We can see that Padme is in love with Anakin Skywalker, who is the son of Shmi Skywalker and the Force. Anakin and Padme have twins, Luke and Leia. However, Anakin does not know this and does not know about Leia. Luke is adopted by Owen Lars and Barry Whiteson.
I think they use this example because it does have the complicated scenarios, like if there's an adoption, if there's multi-generational families, the different things that come up. So as long as you guys cover those 3 generations, I think they even go to 4 at the end. It's a good breakdown, like having the birth year. So like, let's say 1952, if that's your grandparents, I guess your parents are like my age, 1978. And then you have like, are you guys all like 2001 or 2 or 3 now?
4.
Damn, man. They can be old. 4, 5, and 6? Okay. So you'd write that in and then show if there's aunts and uncles, nieces, nephews to cover all that. And then, as a social worker, we want to know mental health. We want to know even like biological, if there's cancer, if there's heart disease, if there's diabetes, if there's depression, anxiety, or bipolar. And that can be a code on the side. And again, you learn how to do it with you, yourself, and your family. And then with your new clients, you can do it with them. I still do it. I had new clients last week, so I had to do it all over again. I see 5 on Mondays. I got yesterday off because it was a holiday, and like 3 on Wednesdays. And I've started to pick up every other Saturday. I'll see people. And yeah, the assessment, that's very normal. So that's not due till next week, but I wanted to go into that, and then we'll start on, we'll go back one, that slide Thursday. Any questions?